So what is the Mandela effect? You hear about it, right? So let's begin from the root of it. Wow. So what is the Mandela effect? You hear about it, right? So let's begin from the root of it. Wow. So what is the Mandela effect? You hear about it, right? So let's begin from the root of it. Different perspectives. The viewing that I'm viewing the multiverse is from an infinity point of view, where I see infinity multiverses and infinity realms, existence, infinity of life. So this is the perspective that you will be listening to when I am explaining. I see infinity multiverses and infinity I see infinity multiverses and infinity I see infinity multiverses and infinity so they were part of shifting that timeline. Okay, so this is going to get really trippy, you guys, so get ready, like really, like grab some crystals, ground, understand. Okay, this is the answer is to that, is that he's stepping into your higher version that is multidimensional, and then all of a sudden when you become conscious in your physical body, you say what you just already said in the multidimensional spiritual form. So it's pretty cool. The collective of Earth began to understand this, like, wait a minute, there's something going on. There was a shift in timelines. So beginnings of bifurcation energies, beginning of organic inverted timelines being shifted. There'll be such a multidimensional perspective in consciousness and in memory in the same collective of Earth, right? Why is it that some people remember the inverted timeline? Because most likely the majority of people who remember inverted timelines are people who actually worked on that timeline themselves, because that collective was part of transmuting it, shifting it, you understand? So that's why they still remember it. Because, and then the people that don't remember it, maybe perhaps they weren't quite at the perspective of that light of understanding that, or they just weren't assisting in that timeline. There's many reasons why the people who for example would not remember the part where he passed away. And if you look inside your brain, you see that it's got neurological, it's quite magical, it's beautiful. If we could imagine the brain right now, and it's lit up in colors, plasmic light is coming out of it, it's thinking, it's moving, the nerves inside of there, they're interacting like electronical circulation, electronical systems, boards, you can say. And this is natural, and it's one nerve and one neuron is connected to each other, and they're all talking, right? They're all lighting up. And then if you looked at the collective's brains, you would see that everyone's thought form is interacting in a different form. So when you understand the brain like that, then you understand that there's multiple realities occurring at the same time in the same pockets of space, but like layers of onions, because every single soul signature has been created. Even a fractal of a higher self and oversoul still will have fractals from, say there's a higher self and oversoul, and then they have 10 fractals or 11 fractals of them that incarnated throughout the universe. Every single one of those fractals will not be the same. They still will have a different soul signature, even though they are still from the same soul, because every single one of them is acting upon and learning a different experience, and every single one of them is retaining different consciousness and memory and experiences from where they're at in the multiverse. Okay, so this is how you could envision. So Earth itself is even though it's in the third dimension, it's still in the fifth dimensional organic, it still has the organic crystalline fifth dimensional blueprint. Again, all those videos we recommended for you to understand this further. So since it's operating, it will always, they can't take away the fifth dimensional from it. It's just that it has the overlay of the simulation around it. Okay, so it's still fifth dimensional, but it has to overlay the false matrix simulation around it, like a shell over it, encasing and entrapping that we need to release out from this consciousness and energies beyond. Okay, different perspectives. The viewing that I'm viewing the multiverse is from an infinity point of view, where I see infinity multiverses and infinity realms, existence, infinity of life. So this is the perspective that you will be listening to when I am explaining. However, I see them how they go through the quantum world. They just go beyond time and space. They just continue on and ripple through one another. Okay, so not limited to our time and space. So what I can explain is that when you're looking at the multiverse, the way that you can understand it is that, first it began from one creation, the one source, divine mother and father. From these expressions, they fractalize out from source, and then they began to create the very first universe. When you go into the multiverse, I'm going to explain this as this is hard to explain in human words so you could understand it. But okay, so if you were to put a multi-spectrum of colors, understanding that all is linear lines and linear times and spaces, but there's no time as well because it all fits within one pocket of consciousness. So when you're looking at it, so say if you were to be looking at it here with your third eye in front of you, you'd be seeing how there are linear lines that all have a different color. These colors are not limited to Earth. They're infinite colors. There's colors that we don't even know of. And these colors all are within a same pocket of time and space. So that's what's really hard to explain. So all these multiverses are all in the same pocket of space. So somehow, okay, if the easiest way is if you were to take a braid, like if you were braiding your hair, right? And say every hair strand, every single little hair strand that made up the braid was a different color. Okay, so which is again could be viewed infinitely. And then this multi-colored hair comes into a braid, but they're all interlocked together, right? So I think that's a really good example. So they're all interlocked together, making one whole braid. But if you were to look at every single line, which could mean a multiverse or even timelines, every single hair could mean one of these. And then you would see how there is an infinity of hairs or multiverses.